All right. I like how it goes ding, and then I know we're on. And this is another episode of Paranormal, and I am one of your hosts, Rachel, and your other host is... And as of today, March break is over.
Womp womp.
Not like I had one, but you know.
I know. But it's nice just to get the kids back.
I know. So,
adios.
So when this airs, the winner of our paranormal giveaway will be announced. Obviously, it's not going to be in the podcast because we're recording this on the 16th. And the giveaway just opened today. But yeah, I can't wait to announce that.
That's so exciting. And thanks again to Haunted Walk to donating those tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
We love it.
They are awesome. They are so awesome. But yeah, so nothing new the last week. This week coming up, by the time this airs, we will have gone to another really cool place.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
excited about that.
I know. It's a place that never sees the light of day. So
Literally. Oh, exciting.
So yeah, so that's that. That's all I got. I have no updates about anything. Nothing. I don't think I do.
I don't know anything either. I am looking forward to us getting back out there, doing stuff. But now, I'm just trying to figure out my screen. So talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just gonna be like, what are you doing?
I can never figure it out. So either you are really tiny or I am really tiny. Last week, I figured out how to do like two of us
side by side.
No idea what I did there.
Oh, I'm on the side by side right now, but when this, when this gets posted, it's just one of us talking at once.
Yeah. But when I'm talking to you, at least there we go. Well, I'll figure it. I don't need to see myself, but go.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Well, let's get started. All right. Yeah. Today's episode is literally ghost hunting 101. So how to be a paranormal investigator, I guess. How to start, what to do, how to do it, what not to do, because there's a lot of those.
Yes, I think that's important.
It is. Well, how to be a paranormal investigator. Number one, like ghosts. That's literally it. But yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm bummed. And I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. End of conversation. And you're all set.
Yeah,
off
you're good.
You go.
Be free into the world. No.
So I guess when we're discussing like ghost hunting, ghost investigation, I think the consensus really is that the emphasis on investigation. So you're starting this because you're truly trying to investigate and document the paranormal in all of its shape and form. You're not going in trying to prove ghosts exist because you will have a mental breakdown.
You'll think everything is a ghost. Everything is a ghost. No.
I'm going to just put a disclaimer right now. Ghost hunting is very boring and there's a lot of downtime and you don't truly understand that until you've gone on a ghost investigation, because when you watch those TV shows, it looks like shit is happening from the moment they get in there. But you don't realize it's probably been about, I'd say, a good 12 to even 24 hours of them filming before, in order for them to condense it all down to those 20 minutes of like,
yeah. As someone who has filmed some shows and been on some stuff, I can tell you right now, 4 hours of filming will get you 15 minutes of decent, airtime and a whole bunch of B-roll, which is like your pictures, your, skin, like just the stuff that they don't really use. It's just kind of like background stuff. So yeah, that's like 15 minutes. So like a whole like 45-minute to an hour episode is probably anywhere between 10 and 24 hours. And that's why you'll notice a lot of these groups do 2 nights at the location because they have to be able to put things together.
Like, let's just clarify. A lot of those shows are ratings based, and they require ratings and likes in order to stay on the air and stay funded. So they have to sometimes fabricate
Mhm.
or embellish or over dramatize events so that they capture the audience. No judgment here. Do what you need to do. Some of them being on the air a long time. Obviously, people love them, but
Mhm.
that's not what we do, and we're not going to be explaining that. So if that's what you're interested in, good for you. We're just going to talk about the basics of how you get started, and then basically how the Paranormal Seekers got started and what we do when we go out
Mhm. Yeah.
and go.
My turn. Okay.
Yeah.
So way back in the day, so we're talking 21 years ago, when I founded and started the Paranormal Seekers, it was literally a small group of people. So there's 4 of us all together, or 5 of us, I want to say, who were interested in ghosts and spirits and the paranormal, and looking more into things. And we started going to all like these like little free places, or like places open to the public, so like restaurants, Ghost Road, because it's road, cemetery, stuff like that. Anyways, when we got into an actual building, um we had to be in there, like, and be presentable, right? We didn't just go up and say, "Hey, can I ghost hunt here? Can I look for the ghosts?" It was a very, professional written email to the curator of the place, and that's literally how it starts. You have to send those emails or those cold calls, and you have to be prepared that the answer is probably going to be no. But
Mhm.
for every yes you get, so out of 10 places you might get 9 no's, but that one yes means a lot, and that's your opportunity to prove yourself as a team. And
Mhm.
that is what we did. We went in there and we were kind, we were respectful, we listened to what their concerns were, we followed their confidentiality that they asked for, and we made sure that all of that was done every step of the way. But yeah, and we still do that today.
Mhm.
So today, when the paranormal seekers go out to investigate, they provide locations with permission forms, because one, you always get permission to go in to investigate.
Yes.
So this is written for us. So if anything happens, we can say, here's you signing this. Two, we do live videos. Obviously, if people have watched our stuff, they've seen us do live videos, but the live videos are done on the permission of the location. So if they don't want us to do a live video, then we're not going to do one.
Mhm.
And then third, we get them to sign a confidentiality agreement. Now, this agreement is basically giving the location the final say in what we can and cannot release. So they have the option of we can release everything. They have the option of we can release some things, but we have to change like names and locations. They have the option of telling us that we can't release anything, or they have the option to customize it where they can say we can release everything upon their approval of what we're writing or putting together as a video or whatnot. Which
Mhm.
I think out of everything, that is the top number one thing next to like the permission is the confidentiality and the respect of that. Because when you break that trust, then your whole team's gonna go down the drain.
Right.
It's just gonna put that out there because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. And yeah, so it that is like the most one of the most important things, because then it gives you um that it allows locations to really understand where you're coming from, and because you're respecting their wishes, it gives you more credibility, and then you kind of you gain that with more locations that you go to. But yeah, that's how we do it.
Mhm. But I do think that all of that sets us apart. That we take the time to ensure that we have permission, asking them what they want, um, making sure we're filming only areas we're allowed to, and that we're being respectful, and that we're leaving the place the way we found it, and we're not trying to pressure them or force them into anything that maybe they don't want or
Mhm.
that, they're not interested in. I mean, how many times do you go to a new place and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, can you come back? Oh my gosh, we have someone else that wants to have you come." Like
Oh my
St.
gosh,
Mary's.
you should go visit this place down the street.
Exactly. Like look at St. Mary's. When we went to St. Mary's Museum, who are the
Mhm.
buildings out of that because they love the way we did things.
Mhm.
Plain and simple. Respect and please and thank you go a long way.
And we also come in and we aren't, demanding.
Know-it-alls.
We
Mm-hmm.
that too. We don't act like we know everything. We don't act like, we know what we're doing. Well, I hope we know what we're doing, but we don't act like we know exactly how everything is going to go. And it's, I don't know, it's just one of those things. Like I've been doing it for so long, like it's just second nature to me now. Talking about it, I can't put it into words because I just do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and it's just, I think a lot of places are also worried because they do watch the TV shows and they do see the, over dramatized, over
Mm-hmm.
sensationalized things that have to be done for those ratings. And they're worried that groups are going to come in and do the same thing. Like, oh my gosh, this place is, there's evil here, or there's a demon, or,
Yep.
all this kind of stuff. And we're not the type of team to do that. Now, if there's
Mm-hmm.
something negative, we will write about it, but we don't write about it as it's going to get you or whatnot. Because we
Right.
do respect the Paranormal Seekers specialize in historic locations, so we do respect the history, and we do
Mm-hmm.
respect, especially these museums who are trying to get this like information out there to share the history, and we don't want to tarnish it. Now, it's history. Not everything was sunshine and puppies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do come across that stuff and we do share it because it is part of history. You can't change it, but you can learn from it.
Yes. But we do it in a way that, like you said, it doesn't discredit the place. We're not dishonoring anyone's memory. We're not trying to tarnish the reputation of the, say, museum or the
Mhm.
building or wherever it is that we're going. It's just through a lot of research that is done by you, essentially, um, before we get there, which also really helps when we walk into a place and you know more about it than most of the people that work there. I
Been
think
there,
that
done that.
really, yeah, it sets us apart from the novice that walks in. They're just like, I don't know, and they're fumbling through everything. And they're like, I don't even know what this place is. Like, it's one thing to say to a curator when you meet them, like, so tell me about this place. It's another place, like, I don't know what this place is. Like, you are supposed to go in there having a general understanding, at least, of what this place is and why you're going there. But the more research you have helps on your investigation because it helps with validating stuff if you start to commune with the dead.
Mhm.
But also, it just sets you apart. It creates a professionalism and it just makes you look really good to the
Mhm.
building curator or manager or whoever it is that you're with. You're not trying to go in there and be a know-it-all. You're not going to be like, "Mm,
No.
let me tell you about it." But you are definitely going in with some knowledge and understanding, and it just sets us apart.
Yeah. Eh,
So we recommend that.
yeah. Research is key. Research is key. You can't just go in
Hmm.
there and be like, oh, I heard it. There's, the ghost of, a lady in white here. And, let's just call her out like, hey, lady in white. Like, no, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Exactly.
You have to go in like with like this is your job. Like you wouldn't act like that at your job unless that's what your job is. But um,
Exactly.
you got to go in like it's your job, and you have to treat it like it's your job. And these people are your clients, right? No matter who they are. So yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And so when you've got permission and you're going to the location, it's really important you know how many people will be allowed in there because some places have a limit.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't bring a big group of like 25 people with you. Um, Generally, we ask if a member of staff can stay with us. That most of them want to, anyways, because it's
Mm-hmm.
cool. But it also kind of allows them to see what we're doing, but just to stay on the property to make sure that,
Mm-hmm.
they're, I don't want to say keeping an eye on us, we're not doing anything, but it's for their comfort level as well. And always know if there's any areas that's off limit. Don't just assume you have free run of the place. Usually they'll say like, oh, you can't go in this space because
Yeah.
it's for whatever. But it's important that you do mark that down. Are we okay to go to the attic? Are we okay to go to the basement? And if it's a no, it's a no. It's not like a no, but when they leave, we'll go down there. It's a no, and you have to respect that because it
Mhm.
might be for your own safety.
Mhm.
I mean, we've had times where they're like, don't go in the attic because you will literally fall through.
Yeah.
And we're
You can
like,
go up
okay,
there, but
duly
you need to
noted.
stand on that board.
Exactly. And we're
Okay.
like, that's okay. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so always leaving the space as you found it. So sometimes when you get into a location, you might have to move things around. So first you need to get permission to make sure that, can I move this? Because if you're in, say, a historical place with artifacts, you might not be allowed to drag them around. So you want to
Mhm.
make sure you'll be like, could we set up our equipment? That means we need to move this table, we'll put it back, and making sure you are putting it back, but definitely making sure you have permission to move those things. Because some things you might be like, oh, I'll just move this, and then
Mhm.
it falls apart, and you're like, oh, fuck, that was the 500-year table.
Oops.
Yeah. Doo
Glad
doo,
we
someone
haven't
get some
had that
glue.
yet.
Oh my God, imagine.
Mm-mm. I don't
That
have
would
the
be
money for that.
ridiculous. I know.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
Oh
no.
gosh.
But like, yeah, it's just
Mm-hmm.
even when we invite, like we always say, like you said, we always ask for a curator, a manager, or whoever. Even if it's just an employee that wants to be there, um, they're more than welcome to stay. They don't have to join us. So we've been into many places where the people have stayed downstairs or stayed in another room. They're okay to be there, but they don't want to know what we're doing.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yep.
but and there's other times where we've had, you know, these,
Mhm.
managers, curators, employees, they've joined us and they're asking
Mhm.
questions and they're hearing these answers, and they feel like they're part of the team, which, again, makes them, respect what we're doing even more. And they genuinely feel like they're part of the team, so it kind of gives us that boost where we're not just like, we're these people, you are these
Mhm.
people, there's a line in between, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nice. It's
And
kind of
it builds a rapport with them so that
Mhm.
then either they'll let you come back or they'll be like, oh my gosh, there's this other building that we're affiliated with. Maybe we can get you in there.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
yeah.
And always be respectful of their time. So just because they've given you permission doesn't mean that you're there the entire night. If that
Mm.
person's staying late, that means they might only be available until 11 or 12. So you've got to make sure that you're doing your best to do as much as you can within that time period. You can't just be like, oh,
Mm.
well, we've got permission to be here, so we're staying, because they're accommodating you. So finding out, what's the absolute
Mhm.
cutoff point so you can then plan your night. Because if you can only be there for 4 hours,
Mhm.
that's not a lot of time if it's a
Mhm.
big place. So then
Well,
you've got to go, okay, we need to separate, we need to do this. What's the
mhm.
best plan of attack?
And like I said, we have an investigation coming up in May where we have 3 hours. That's it. That's all we have is 3 hours. Place isn't that big, but we have 3 hours. 3 hours.
Right.
But we're going to respect that. And you know what? Sometimes, and I know with us, sometimes things happen. And, even the curators and stuff get right into it and we're there longer.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, it is what it is.
Yep.
Right. So, and that's just something that's really cool. Or, we pack up in 3 hours. But
Exactly. And sometimes it could be that they're simply saying that just in case you're not a great team. And that's their like out clause. They'll be like, oh, wait, time's up.
yeah,
But like you
get
said, if
out.
they're getting right into it, they're like, oh, we don't have to leave yet.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. There are some places who just, you get 2 hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a place nearby that gives you 2 hours.
Hmm.
There's not much you can do investigating in 2 hours. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Uh,
Hmm.
3 hours, some of our stuff is like an hour and a half long, right? But
Yeah.
3 hours, right, is you're cutting it as well, but we can still do it. But again, yeah, you have to be respectful of what they're offering you. If you really want in there and you really want to investigate, and this is what they're offering, take it.
Exactly.
Right?
Because anything is better than nothing.
Yeah. When it
So
comes
then
to
let's talk about equipment essentials, because when you're in a situation where you've got only 2 or 3 hours, you can't bring everything out. It will take you that long to get it set up. So now you're going to have to pick what are the most essential and easiest things I can use that are going to be not guaranteeing you capture something, but the easiest thing to capture. So I would say one of the first things you want to take with you is your phone, because it kind of has a bunch of different things on it right then and there. It has your flashlight, has
yeah.
a camera, has a video, has an audio
Flashlight.
device
Who the fuck uses a flashlight?
on their phone.
Not me. That's what my
Sometimes
shins
when
are
you're
for.
in like a creepy basement and you're fumbling around, yeah, trust me, it's there.
That's what your shins are for.
That would be like one of the simplest things.
Yeah.
And you have it on you.
And with your phone, and you also could have the apps on your phone. You could have like Necrophonic, which is your ghost box, and you could have like Spirit Talker, which is like an Ovulus type thing, right? So you can have those apps on your phone too, so you could just whip it out real quick, right?
Exactly. But I would say you should also have an additional camera or video camera, because if you're using your phone for the apps, you can no longer be recording stuff. And the whole point of this is that you're documenting stuff. So I would say essentials would be your phone, an extra camera or video camera or both, flashlight if you want to take an extra one. And then chargers for those things, because trust me, some places will just drain you right away. And also
a lot of this new
additional
equipment, they don't have batteries like they used to. They're all like chargers.
But if they do have batteries, take extra batteries. It's always
Don't
better
be
to
like
have
me.
them.
Don't be like me and forget, because I do all the time.
And extra SD cards and extra batteries for those things too, like charged batteries, because you'll be surprised how fast they run out. Like we've been to places, we've had brand new batteries, and we're like, wow, is this dying already? And if we hadn't had like 3 backups, we would be screwed, because we'd be constantly charging stuff.
Hey, listen, we found out that the music box will run on 1 battery.
and turned off. Like that was really weird. That was really weird. And then so then you have other equipment that you can buy as your finances see fit, because ghost hunting equipment is expensive.
Oh my god! Speaking of which, I was looking online the other day. I'm not going off topic, but I was looking online the other day because I was looking at the PS device and I wanted to know how much it was. It's like $500 and something. Anyways.
What is a PS device?
Okay. The PS device is like an Ovulus, but it's the one that they use on Project Fear.
Okay.
Like Dakota and
that.
Yeah, well, you should. It's good.
Anyways,
I know. Shout out to the Project Fear crew, because you know, you need to come to Ontario and we will do ghost hunting together.
Yes, there you go. And you can show me what the PS5 is or whatever.
Anyways,
something.
The Ovulus 5, the Ovulus 5 is $862 Canadian.
And what is the difference with the 5 versus the 2 or whatever we have, the 3 that we have?
It's just newer.
Has it got more words? Do they have slang words in it? Oh my god! Imagine it does like a whole teenage. You could set it to teenage, and it'd be like, "Oh my god, you're so dumb, brah," or whatever. It would just put it in teenage mode.
we still wouldn't know what the hell it was saying, so
we wouldn't. We'd be like, "Oh, it's in another language." Oh, you're so dumb. I'd be like, "No, it's a teenager." That's amazing. But I will give you a little hint. You can go on Amazon and find very similar things that do not say ghost hunting equipment, and it's much cheaper. I have these 2 really great motion sensors, and so they light up, plus they have different ringtones, and I'm not talking about Stephen Who's. We'll go back to that in a second. But these are just little things, and they take batteries, so you can put them wherever, and they have a really good range. And because they have different tones, you can have one as like a doorbell and one as a dog or something, because so you know which one's going off. $20 each. Versus if you buy one of the motion sensors or a REM pod or something, they're
Well,
like a bazillion dollars.
that's no different than those damn balls. They're not
Exactly.
they're sensor balls. I do not call them cat balls anymore, but the cat balls.
Spirit
I
balls.
find where my phone is because it's listening to me.
I was just gonna say, here we go. You're getting balls galore.
Yeah, listen, the Testicle Festival in Orleans, I don't need to go to that. Thanks, phone. Anyways.
But like a K2 meter, I think, is like $20-$30.
Yeah,
These
well,
are like minimum things you can start with.
Well, it's like those cat balls. Like cat balls, if you type in ghost hunting sensor balls on like Amazon, they're like $25-$30. You type in cat balls, they're $12.99. They're the exact same bloody thing.
There you go.
There's ways around it. It's just like I was thinking, I wonder, and I might do this because now I'm like, fuck this. I'm going on Amazon or Walmart. I might walk into Walmart. Baby monitors.
Yeah.
I'm totally going to grab some baby monitors for our next trip.
Absolutely.
So we can put one on the 3rd floor of the building we're going on. And listen.
I have one right here. So I have these. They do have to get plugged in, and they do require like a wireless internet. So you can only use these if you're going to be in a good place. These are really good. They alert you to any movement. Like sometimes I get the weirdest stuff on my work. I have these at work as well. But these will be really good. I'm going to bring these too, because then we can set these up. They will record if I want them to, but it will drain my phone. So I'll just have it alert me, and then we can live time into them and see what's going on. But it will take a picture. It will take a picture when it does it. It just won't do it. But yeah, all kinds of things. And these are like $30 in Best Buy. Like, listen, people.
Yeah, you
don't have to go with these new things that friggin' someone's just built in their garage. What's that guy's name on Ghost Adventures that they're always using?
Bill Chappell?
He's like, I've made a new invention, and it's like a ghost robot or something, and they're like, I am a robot ghost. I don't know, whatever.
But yeah, no, equipment is it's everywhere, but it's gonna be, do you have the funds for it?
Exactly.
Because it's just like SLS cameras, they run off an Xbox Connect. We paid $1,800 for ours. I have an Xbox Connect. I can make my own, which I think we might, because we have all the other stuff for it. But like things like that are expensive. Boo Buddy was like a couple $100. The Dead Bell was a couple $100. It's all that stuff, and it adds up really, really, really quick. And sadly for us Canadians, we don't have a ghost hunting store, so all of this stuff comes from the States, and we all know how much that's going to cost right now. So
no kidding.
Yeah, so we have to order from the States, and then you've got your duty and your currency exchange, and now tariffs and all that crap that goes on top of that. And then because it's coming from the States, you might have to pay a third party to accept it at customs, right? So then you're paying that on top of everything, and then it's a lot. So you don't have to buy that stuff.
Exactly. And don't forget, the best piece of equipment you have is yourself, because you will know when the temperature's changing. I would hope. I don't know. Unless you're menopausal, and then you can't be like, oh, the devil's here. Nope, just a hot flash. But you should be able to, see or hear. Like, these are things that you're gonna sort of become more accustomed to the more you do it. But
where'd your sound go?
I don't know what just happened. I'm like, hello?
It's really weird. You're good. I can hear you.
Am I back?
That was weird. You were like,
I know. I don't know why my earbuds were like, I'm out of here. They didn't like what I was saying. They're like, oh, you should be able to hear. Screw you then.
It's a ghost.
Exactly. Oh my God. So definitely checking in with yourself. And if things are starting to feel a bit strange, it could be that things are ramping up. Don't forget to document, like timestamp something. So let's say if you're doing, I don't know, an EVP session even, and you're sitting and then you hear something, you want to make sure you're like, I document this time so you can go back and review it later. So you're not like, oh, where was it on the thing? That's a really good thing to do as well. And then having the time to go through all your stuff.
Oh my
because
God.
sometimes you don't even know stuff's happened until you get back and start going through your things.
Yep. Found that out.
And
last
then you're
week.
like, well, what?
And that would, yeah, and that would, and doing that too, you have to remember, if you have 8 hours of video, that is 8 hours that you have to watch it. Like, it doesn't just, right? Like, you know, you got 2 hours of audio. That's 2 hours you're listening to it. Like, it takes time. Nothing, and you could listen to your, you know, 2 hours of audio and not hear a darn thing or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, capturing EVP, I don't know about how they get them on the TV. I don't know, because it's few and far between for us. Are you losing your hearing?
No, I was like, maybe they work now. Well, exactly. And it's a minimum of 8 hours watching 8 hours, because you'll be stopping and rewinding and slowing down and like cutting and splicing. Many a time I've been going through stuff and then I'm like, wait, watch. And I gotta listen, and then I gotta watch it again, and then I gotta cut it up, and then I gotta send it to Rachel to be like, am I going crazy? Is this a ghost or whatever?
So like when I was sending stuff to you the other weekend, like,
exactly. And then
like,
you're cross-referencing that with, okay, where is everybody else at this time? Could it have been someone off camera? Like, it's
is
a
it
lot
car
that goes on.
lights? You know, how do we know that it's not this? So you're also debunking as you go, or at least trying to, because the first thing you want to do is rule out anything natural. Like, for example, I'll just talk about it. We investigated Wildwood Sanitarium in New York in November for the first time. We have been back since. But I finally got to watch all of that, you know, DVR footage that we had. And there was a point where we weren't in this room. We were at least 2 floors below. And there are these lights that show up, and they're by a window, but they don't look like they're outside. They look like they're inside. So I thought, is this a car? And then I found like a car going by. And so you see that, and then it happens again. And we're like, is this a flashlight outside? Were we outside at this time? So this is the kind of stuff that you have to like really think about when you're reviewing your footage. And if you get the chance to go back, go look everything over. Look at, you know, the place where you saw, like, where we saw the lights, and what does outside look like, and does a car coming this way look like this? And then you can start to figure out exactly if it's paranormal or not.
Exactly.
And that takes time too.
Those things were things we didn't see at the time. But if you're in a place and things happen, immediately you have to try and debunk it. And a lot of things you will be able to debunk. And that's going to break a lot of hearts right now when I say that. But most things you can debunk. So the curtain's moving because the air conditioning just kicked on and the vent is by the window. Or that door opened because it wasn't latched properly and someone walked by and the floorboard moved and it opened. Like, you should always be trying to find the logical explanation until you've whittled it down and cannot possibly explain it. If you are going in thinking, I'm proving ghosts are here, you'll be able to do it because everything will just seem like a ghost, but you're not doing yourself a very good service if you're just assuming everything's ghost, because then when things are easily explained, you're gonna look like you're bullshit, and then you'll get a reputation, unfortunately, and places won't want to work with you.
Yeah. And going on with that, and I'm gonna say this, and I might get flack for it, and I really don't care. This is how I feel. Is having a psychic or medium with you is great. It allows you to have that extra insight that you might not have. But you also have to make sure that if you cannot verify the information that they're giving you, that it is, you take it with a grain of salt, right? It can't be the truth. just because they're saying it doesn't mean it's the truth. Unless you like really, really trust this person, then you can say, okay, I trust what they're saying. But even then, it's, you don't know, because you're not receiving this information. And there's a lot of logical things that I've seen many psychics in the past and mediums say, oh my gosh, this is a ghost. And you're like, no, this is this, because I could tell. And of course, then they say things like, oh, well, I'm the psychic or the medium, and I can see the ghost and you can't. Right? Like,
exactly.
Right? Like it doesn't, you got to take it with a grain of salt. So it's also, like I say, everything that we use and do, like, and anything that a paranormal group uses and does, is just another tool in the toolbox. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work all the time. It's there to use and utilize.
Exactly. Like, we have a really good team dynamic that if people capture stuff, we all kind of review it and give our opinion. And if it's debunked, no one has hard feelings. No one's like, oh, how could you do that? We're like, oh, thank you. Like, you're right. That's good that you've done that.
Yeah.
There's no one on the team. Like, there's a few people on the team who have abilities, let's say, or are intuitive or whatever. There's no one-upmanship. If someone comes in and they've got really strong vibes that day and they're just cracking along and getting stuff right, that's awesome. No one's like, but it's my turn to feel the ghost or whatever. Or I want the ghost to be attached to me today. Like, no one does
Why
that.
am I not the only one on camera? No.
Exactly. So it's, you have to have a really good dynamic like that, and be able to say to the person, no, that's not a picture of a ghost, it's lens flare, like, let me show you. And you have to be able to go, oh, you're right. If you get some ego about it, it's gonna destroy the team, but it's also not gonna be very good reputation wise. The last thing you want to do is be out in the field and having like a pissy fit with someone in your team, because it will show and then it gets uncomfortable for everyone. And then people make comments like, oh, why was that person on their phone the whole time being pissy? I don't know. But we don't want that. So yes, make sure if whoever's with you is a credible person, that they're not there to be dicks, they're not dicking around, they're not making fun of it. It's okay to have skeptics with you. I think it's great to have a mix of people, but making sure that you're not, whoever's going out with you is representing your group, and that you're all on the same page about how you want to present to the public and what you want to do. And that there's no, I'm the leader and I say this. It's just, that's just silliness.
I am not that type of leader.
No,
if
exactly.
Take over, if you want to do something, go right ahead. I'll just go sit back. I do too much anyway. So,
well, and that's the thing. Like, no, I don't think there's anyone in the team that if someone steps in and goes, I think we should go do this, they're like, why do you, who made you the boss? Like, no one's like that. It's great because some people, have, when we go into places, it affects people differently. And sometimes people are like, oh, let's go in here. And other people are like, I don't want any part of this or whatever. And so it makes it great that we're all being able to kind of just go with the flow, and no one's getting annoyed and no one's upset because they feel whatever. And half the time we end up kind of going off doing our own things. Or sometimes we're all converged together.
For somehow,
like
some reason, we all end up together.
Yeah, where we never separate because we're terrified.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Despite our ambitious attempts in the beginning, oh, we're all going to split up. Not a fucking chance.
Yeah, that lasted a whole 5 minutes, but whatever.
Exactly. We're going to split up until we got locked out by something from the inside, and then we were all glued to each other.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Anyways.
Can't wait. But like on top of all like the equipment and getting your team in there and all that stuff, another thing is a lot of teams think they need to have like all of these like locations that they've investigated. And while it's great to have a lot of places that you've investigated, like 21 years, what you see on the Paranormal Seekers website is just the list that we can tell you of the places that we've investigated. But that's 21 years worth, right? But as a team, like if you're putting together a team, you all have to have like-minded individuals. But you need individuals who are good with going back to the same location over and over and over. Because if you don't go back to the same location over and over and over, are you really investigating?
That's
Right?
a really great point.
Because when you do things, go to the same places over and over, you can see the differences. You can see if something is the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can maybe get new information, or you're building a repertoire with the spirits and the ghosts there, so they're becoming more familiar with you. So it's more, they're like more comfortable talking to you. It's like hanging out with friends. Like you meet somebody for the first time, and then you hang out with them again, and you're like, and then you hang out with them again, you're like, you're right. So it's places like Kawartha Settlers Village. We've been there, I don't even know how many times, and every time seems to be different.
Yeah.
But we're getting more and more information, or we're noticing different things. The Junkin House, for example. How many times have we been in there and it's been dead quiet? And last year we go in and there's a clock ticking, and we're like,
oh, the Junkin? Yeah.
Yeah. So
right?
It's those things that you start to notice. And that's all about, that's investigating, right? You have to do it over and over, right? You're literally doing an experiment every time.
Exactly.
Right?
Or you're going in and you're trying to get the same reaction. Like sometimes at Settlers, we will go and the Ray house, the door will close on command. And we're still trying to figure out, is this really something? Like we've captured it a few times now, but we're still not stamping it as, oh, well, this must be a ghost doing it. But it's really cool. And again, sometimes you're surprised. You go there and you're like, oh, there's going to be nothing in this place as usual. And then you're like, what the fuck? And shit's just going crazy. And you're like, this place has never been so active.
Yeah.
So you're right. One and done is not the best way to do it. I mean, sometimes that's all you get and you're grateful and you go and you have the best time. But if you can investigate a place multiple times, there's so much benefit to it for all the things you've just said, to build rapport with the spirits, to like really investigate and try and recreate experiments or debunk something that happened before. It is definitely all about investigation.
It is. It really is. And we do a lot of it. So we have a lot of places we've been multiple times, and I will still continue to go no matter what. Sometimes you kind of get a little tired of it. You do need a break, but you should also go back.
Absolutely.
Right? There's nothing wrong with having a space of time between when you go and when you go back. It could be a year, it could be a month, it could be 3 months, right? Like, during that time, a lot can change.
Well, yeah, like, and some places that we go to on a regular basis, one in particular, they've just renovated one of their historical buildings, which is just so happens to be my most favorite building. I can't wait to get back in there to see what shit they have stirred up by renovating, because that place was already a little crazy. Which brings us to a good point. So we are not a team that provokes. Some of those shows you see, they go in there and they provoke and they try to do whatever, but we're not like that because we believe in being respectful. And to be honest with you, there are certain locations that we don't want to stir up the shit in there. Like the last thing we want to do is piss off the ghosts in there.
Yeah.
So it's not ever a good idea. I think one of the best analogies is if you're sitting at home on your couch watching TV and someone busts through your door and they're like, you say your name, show me your face, move the candlestick. You'd be like, what? And either you'd be like, this person's crazy, and you'd leave, or you'd square up and be like, the fuck are you doing in my home? And get aggressive, which are two outcomes you do not want. So being respectful, this is also where research comes in. Saying their name will probably be more helpful. So if you already know the history of the place and saying, Mr. Ray, are you in here? He might be like, why, yes, I am, young lady, as opposed to someone being like, hello, is anyone in here?
And this is another thing. So I'm going to use Hinsdale, for example. They're the Hinsdale house in New York. I don't know why I'm talking about New York, but these are great examples. Anyways, there was, this like lore about how the house was built for these two brothers who were murderers. Well, yeah, the house was built by two brothers, but they weren't murderers, right? So a lot of these investigation groups have gone in with this whole like, I'm going into this murder's house, like these murderers' house where they kept the bodies in the basement, and then they go in with all these like, you know, how many people did you kill, and all that kind of stuff, right? And no, right? Like,
And remember what happened when you did your Estes? That they came through and were like, thank you for clearing that up for us.
oh, I did not realize.
Because when we were explaining, like the exact thing you just said, it was all misinterpreted. But now those two brothers, their names have been tarnished, and they're not here to be able to correct that. So the really great research you did kind of sheds lights on that whole bullshit story. And they were so grateful. They were like, thank you, that's not what we did. And that makes a huge difference. Maybe that's why we had...
And that could be why I was allowed to sleep that night.
I was going to say, I think that's why we had a more pleasant night than a lot of people who have been there, because we went in with respect. We weren't going in and being like, make everything move.
Oh, this is the evil hell house. It's a portal to hell. No. Could be, but no.
So yeah, so respect is a really good thing when you go in there. And, you know, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't make one of your first things like an old hospital that's 48,000 square feet or something, and it's you and one other person. I don't know what you're going to do there. And be prepared in some places for wild animals to get you.
Mother Nature will get you.
Some places have them. For the most part, if you're exploring, let's say, a place that's open to the public, so whether that's, I don't want to say an abandoned place because you'd still need permission, but anything, like even if it's a cemetery or public place, understand that it's a public place. So there could be other people there, such as homeless people. You have to always be, you know, prepared to come across them. But if you're also doing investigations in the places, there could be people around. So if you've captured something, you got to make sure that you're aware if there are other people moving around, talking, doing whatever. Outside is very difficult with the audio because there's lots of things that can interfere with what you're doing. So making sure you are aware if you're the only ones in the building. I mean, sometimes you might not know until it's 3:00 in the morning and a wild animal swoops at you in the darkness, and then all chaos breaks loose. But anyways, these things happen. And then you're awake for the rest of the night.
You know, I wasn't. I went back to bed. Anyways.
Yeah. You were not even part of it. You just went, what? And then went back to sleep.
Oh, I let the bad out. I let the bad out. But yeah, no, you got to be prepared for almost anything when you're investigating. Anything, you know, wild animals, weather, random people, you know, it's just, it happens, right? Like it happens. And even these locations, they can't control it, right?
Yeah.
You know, Hinsdale, we had the bat and we had those random people just drive down because they know the place is haunted and they want to check it out. I should have said, seriously, I was going to be like, what? We just moved in.
Listen, I was fully prepared with those gardening shears or whatever it was that I found in the drawer. We're all
literally, you gotta be prepared for anything.
Usually, me and the bat, we would have saved everyone.
Literally, things that are living and breathing are more terrifying.
It's true.
But yeah, it's just another part of investigating you always have to be prepared for.
And another good thing is to just inquire with the building or the location. This happened to us once. I don't know if it's ever happened prior to me joining the team or not, but we showed up at a location and they had invited another investigator from another group. And we were like, I'm sorry, what was this? And they thought it was fine. They just figured, why not? He can join, he can do whatever. So it's probably a good idea to have a conversation about that beforehand. What is that thing?
You got a thumbs down.
Who just gave me the thumbs down?
That was awesome. I hope
Awesome.
that's great. That's great. But anyways, yes.
That was amazing. I'm
It
so
was.
sorry. It was the guy that showed up that day. He's like, screw you then. Wow, I don't know how that happened. Anyways, phantom thumbs down.
Yeah, the ghosts
Be
don't like it when
prepared for
other people
anything.
show up. Oh
That
my
was
god.
amazing.
Oh,
Okay, message received.
oh my god. But yeah, always make sure. Just always check. You never know. The museums and stuff, they have, sometimes they get their wires crossed as well, where they invite other people. It's not a problem, but you really just need to make sure. Sometimes they'll invite media, so newspaper reporters and stuff, to come out and do a story. Make sure you're okay with that. You again, like I said, you always have to be prepared for anything. But yeah, so
Absolutely. And I think, again, at the end, so once you're done and you've left the place in tip-top shape, then starts the review of the equipment and things, which is a lot. Sometimes it takes longer than you think, especially if you have a full-time job. You can't always just sit down the next day and start going through it. But before you post anything, I would suggest you contact the location and just say, hey, would you like to know our findings? I mean, Rachel
and
does
that's
an
another thing
incredible
too.
report.
And that's another thing too. And I've seen a lot of groups do this, and I've been in this business industry long enough, and it kind of irks me, is that these teams will go investigate and then nothing. Like, what are you providing? You're doing a service to this museum or house or whatever, and what are you providing them? Like, what's the end goal? Like, you just want to just go and investigate and that's it? Like, what are you giving to these individuals? Are you giving a story like we write? Are you giving them a report? Are you giving them a genealogical history of who lived in the house or on the property? Like, what are you giving to them, right? Like, what is this? And like, you can't just investigate just for shits and giggles, right? Like, you can, but if you're like, that's something that you do on the side, like, on a Saturday night when when we're bored, like, here, let's go to, the cemetery, right? I don't really have to write a story about that because I'm just going out for shits and giggles, right? But like, if you're going to a location, what are you providing them? What do you want to provide them? Right? So you should always have
And I
that.
think most places love it. They love to hear what you've come up with, especially if they're entertaining the fact that they might have ghosts. They probably have something already on their website. So if you can provide evidence, pictures, whatever, they would love it. And it's more exposure for yourself if you're, doing this on a sort of more professional level other than just whatever. So it's a good idea to create something and then send it to them first and say, check it out. And then again, making sure any posts that you're posting are within what you've discussed with the location.
Now, I'm going to just, I know we've been talking a lot about like historical locations and museums and stuff, but there are a lot of private residents, so people's houses that people want groups to come into and investigate. And this is like, if you're doing your own paranormal, it's totally up to you what you want to do. If you want to do just museums and historical sites, if you want to do private residence or a combination, that's whatever you choose is what you choose. But we always, for us, and I think a lot of it should be for a lot of groups now, is when you're doing private residence, you really need to think of your safety. And you really need to vet the people who live there.
Absolutely.
Because, mental illness and other things are a factor in a lot of experiences that individuals have. A lot of people just want their houses to be haunted just to say they live in a haunted house. So you really, really, really need to be careful. And, interview before you investigate.
Yes.
It's super important.
And make sure that the place you're investigating is owned by that person
Mhm.
or that you have permission from the owner. So if the person who's contacted you is renting, then you must get permission from the owner of the building before you should just
Mhm.
go in. Just because the person's renting doesn't mean anything.
No,
So
no,
you got to make sure you have full
and
permission on all fronts.
you don't want that, you know, lawsuit coming at you at the end of the day,
Exactly.
because now you know it's out there that this place is haunted and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And again, apartment buildings, yes, apartment buildings can be haunted, but just because one a unit is experiencing something doesn't mean the rest of them are. And you have to be really careful because other people do live there in the building,
Hmm.
and some of them might not believe, some of them might have religious beliefs that, you know, write this off as completely, you know, evil devil. You don't want, it's a whole other, you know, ball game when it comes to that. So you really need to vet, and you really need to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into before
Hmm.
you go investigate somebody's house.
Absolutely.
We've done a few. Yep, we've done a few. Some have been really great.
Hmm.
Some have been, we did one where we went in and we didn't find a thing, and that doesn't mean there wasn't anything there, but a lot of the stuff had indicated other things. So we told them that we didn't find anything. So we didn't really believe that their location was actually haunted. And they pretty much went from group to group to group to group until they found that one group that was like, oh, you have a ghost.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. So just make sure with that.
yikes.
But again, yeah,
Like you said, people just want their places to be haunted.
yeah, yeah.
And
This
old
place,
does not
this
equal
place could be
haunted.
haunted, and I don't even know.
Exactly.
Don't do anything.
Yeah.
Again, another important thing before we scoot out of this one, um, as a team, and I mean, speaking from experience here, as a team that's been around for 21 years, I have seen the ups and downs of what, you know, running and operating a paranormal team has been. I have seen the good, I have seen the and I have seen the downright ugly of jealousy from other teams and all that kind of stuff. It is guaranteed, no matter who you are or what you do in this industry, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be hating on you.
Yep.
um, you have to make sure that you don't let it get to you. So for the Paranormal Seekers, we literally just follow ourselves. We don't really keep track of what everybody else is doing, because when we start focusing on what everybody else is doing, you lose sight of what you are doing. And
Exactly.
I'm too busy to follow anybody else. It's just a preference, right? It's not like I don't like anybody else. It's just I'm focused on us, and I'm putting
Hmm.
us first, and our investigations first. So you will see the jealousy. It happens. You just got to let it roll. Um, and then another thing would be do your own research. If you're
Hmm.
starting a group, do your own research. Put your
And
time in.
fact check that research
Yeah,
along the way.
yeah. Put your time in. Do your emails. Do your cold calling. Do your visits. Just do not email another paranormal group and ask them to get you into a location. Just don't. It doesn't work that way. You step on toes. You know, we get emails all the time from other paranormal groups asking us to get us into certain locations. And some of those locations actually took us a while to get into, but with enough, I'm not going to say persuasion, but with enough, you know, respect and showing, you know, stuff and having um, reference letters. Yes, we do have reference letters from locations that we've been to, you know, has allowed us to get into these places. So we've done
Hmm.
our work. Make sure you do your work, because
Yeah.
it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes
Agreed.
21 years. It takes a long time. That's my TED talk.
Excellent. Well, I think we summed it up. I mean, I think you've got all that it takes now to go out there and Bust some ghosts.
I was literally going to say that. Bust some ghosts.
Oh, I can't wait to go bust some ghosts.
Neither can I. 3 more weeks. No.
A few more
1,
days.
2. Well, yeah, that's right. Keep forgetting we're going out on Thursday because we never go out on a Thursday.
I know.
It's going to be fun. Can't wait to share that.
Yeah. Excellent.
But yeah, so, well, if you got any questions about starting your own team or investigating the paranormal or what piece of equipment we think is the best, or, you know, what would we choose out of one or the other, you can send us an email, paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. That's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we have TikTok because, you know, we gotta be like those cool kids. Yeah, right.
I don't know who they are.
Neither do I. Not a fucking clue. Anyways. So yeah, so that is it. I don't even know what next week's episode about because I don't have my sheet in front of me.
And I can't look because it's on my phone.
I know what it is. It's messages from the other side, I think. Because all I have is Adele in my head.
Excellent.
Well, that will be next week's. But yeah, so send us a message, email, comment, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Have a great Sunday, people.
Yeah, enjoy your week. We will talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.